Hare Krishna. Welcome to our program. Our speaker of the day is Shriman Gauranga Darshan Prabhu. He has done his master's degree from the prestigious Indian Institute of Science, Bangalore. Prabhuji is a disciple of His Holiness Radhanath Swami Maharaj, who is a senior disciple of His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. He is also a member of ISKCON Examination Board and takes classes on Srimad Bhagavatam, Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita and Vaishnav etiquettes. He has written elaborate workbooks on Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam and Chaitanya Charitamrita, with which the students can dive into intricacies of these great scriptures. He is a compiler of many other educational booklets and magazines, thus helping the seekers of Bhagavad knowledge. In all, he is a living encyclopedia of scriptures preaching the science all over the world, and who is exemplary and lives whatever he preaches. Come, let's hear him and try to imbibe the essence of scriptures as presented by him. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
We are continuing our discussion on compassion. A devotee has this deep compassion towards suffering people. A devotee is called Paradukha Dukhi because he sees the distress of other people and he considers their distress as his own distress and he laments for them. We have seen the examples of Draupadi, Lord Shiva, Vidura, Maitreya, Vasudeva Datta, Prahlada and few other examples in the previous episode. We will continue our discussion. In the fourth canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, Narada Muni speaks a beautiful shloka to Prahlada. He says, Gunadhikan mudam lipset anukrosham gunadhamat maitrim samanadan vichen natapairabhibhuyate. Narada Muni says, Guna adhikan mudam lipset. Whenever you meet a person who is more qualified than you, be happy, don't feel envious. You should be happy that you can learn something from this person. Gunadhikan mudam lipset. Anukrosham gunadhamat. Whenever you see a person who is less qualified than you, who is little inferior to you in some way, we should not feel proud. We should not feel a sense of superiority complex. Oh, he is not so qualified like me, I am better than him. We should not have that kind of sense of pride. We should be very compassionate. Anukrosham Gunadhamat. Guna adhamat. Less qualified than you, you should show anukrosha, compassion on him. Thus, this spirit of compassion is very vividly described throughout our glorious scriptures like Srimad Bhagavatam, Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita and Srimad Bhagavad Gita and various other Vedic literatures. So when we see a less qualified person, we should show compassion. We may be better situated in our material life or spiritual life, but if other people do not have such privilege, we should show a lot of kindness upon them and try to uplift them from where they are. We should offer our helping hand to them. That is compassion. Compassion is to offer voluntary sacrifices for the welfare of other people. There is a beautiful shloka in Srimad Bhagavatam that describes the compassion of the supreme speaker of Bhagavatam, that is Sukadeva Goswami. Sukadeva Goswami has spoken Srimad Bhagavatam out of his deep compassion on people in general. Vyasadeva has written Srimad Bhagavatam out of his deep compassion on people in general. And Narada Muni inspired Vyasadeva to write Srimad Bhagavatam out of his compassion. Like that, the spirit of compassion is imbibed by all the writers or speakers of spiritual literature, Vedic literature. So, a devotee is a person who is filled with compassion. His heart is filled with compassion for people in general. Sukadeva Goswami is described in this way. Yahasvanubhavam akhila shruti saramekam Adhyatma deepamatitirishataam tamondham samsarinam karunayah purana guhyam tam vyasa sunumupayami gurum muninam yahasvanubhavam akhila shruti saramekam. Sukadeva Goswami has internalized and he has completely assimilated the essence of all scriptures. He is so well versed with Srimad Bhagavatam, which is compared to the essence of all scriptures. Yahasvanubhavam akhila shruti saramekam. Adhyatma deepam. This Bhagavatam will illuminate the soul. Atitirishatam tamondham. This Bhagavatam can help us cross over this material existence. And samsarinam karunaya aha purana guhyam. Although this Bhagavatam is a very confidential literature, Sukadeva Goswami has spoken this Bhagavatam out of his deep compassion. Karuna, anukrosha, karuna are the Sanskrit words used to describe compassion. So Sukadeva Goswami spoke Srimad Bhagavatam out of his deep compassion, and this quality of compassion in Sukadeva Goswami was specifically inspiring to Suta Goswami, who was sitting in his audience and hearing this entire Bhagavatam. Something which is very confidential, cannot be revealed to the public, but out of his deep compassion, this Sukadeva Goswami is revealing everything for our benefit. And Suta Goswami heard everything from Sukadeva Goswami, and Suta Goswami repeated that Bhagavatam to the sages of Naimisharanya. At Naimisharanya, he told this Bhagavatam to the Saunakadi Rishis. So like that, whoever is presenting this Vedic scriptural knowledge is doing out of compassion. Even Vyasadeva also, he has envisioned, Narada Muni instructed Vyasadeva to write Srimad Bhagavatam. And Vyasadeva has envisioned, in his meditation he saw Krishna, he saw Maya, and he also saw the living entities suffering because of Maya. Out of his deep compassion, he has written Srimad Bhagavatam so that these suffering souls can adopt to the process of Bhakti Yoga described in Bhagavatam and perfect their lives. And they can transcend this miserable material world and go back to the lotus feet of Krishna. That is the spirit of compassion of Bhagavatam writer and Bhagavatam speaker. And the enquirer, those who are asking questions to speakers of Bhagavatam, they are also imbibing the spirit of compassion. They compassionately ask questions way below their standard of devotion also, so that common men can be benefited. So they put themselves in the position of common men and they ask questions about spiritual subject matters on behalf of common men. What is beneficial for people in general? All the sages of Naimisharanya asked Suta Goswami this question, 6 questions in the beginning of Bhagavatam. Out of their compassion, they were asking, what is the ultimate good for all people in general? Saunakadi Rishis asked Suta Goswami this question, what is the ultimate good for all people in general? This is the first question in Srimad Bhagavatam. And Suta Goswami answered this question saying that Bhakti Yoga, or performing devotional service unto the Supreme Lord Krishna, is the ultimate beneficial activity for the entire humanity. So compassionate souls, when they come together, they discuss about the welfare of people in general. In the 5th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, Sukadeva Goswami described various hellish planets. There are so many hells to punish sinful people. Whenever somebody does some sin, he is taken by Yamadutas to Yamaloka, and the judge, Yamaraj, is sitting there in that Yamaloka. So he would offer some punishment to all the sinful people, and for a few thousands of years, these people will suffer in the hellish planets, and after that, they will be put into some species, some non-human species, and after gradually evolving from lower species to higher species, eventually the living entity will get an opportunity to attain human birth. This is how sinful souls are treated in the universal cosmic administrative system. So, Sukadeva Goswami described different hellish planets. What are the natures of suffering in those hellish planets in the 5th canto of Bhagavatam? After hearing all this description of hellish planets, Parikshit Maharaj was spontaneously compassionate upon all those people who are entering these hellish planets. Out of his deep compassion, Parikshit Maharaj asked, "O Sukadeva Goswami, how can the humanity be saved from entering these hellish conditions? Is there any way to avoid hellish suffering for all these human beings?" That was his compassion. So Vaishnava's compassion is very deep, very spontaneous, very complete. So here Parikshit Maharaj was cursed to die in 7 days. In those 7 days, he was hearing Srimad Bhagavatam from Sukadeva Goswami. Now in just few days, he is about to leave this world, but Parikshit Maharaj was not thinking about himself. What will I do? What will happen to me after 3-4 days? He was thinking, what will happen to the humanity? How can they be protected from entering hellish planets? So even though he himself was in some kind of difficulty, he is thinking about the difficulties of other people. And Parikshit Maharaj's compassion is also complete. He did not ask, how can the Kshatriya community be saved from entering hellish planets? Parikshit was a Kshatriya, he was a king, he was an emperor. He was not thinking about his own family members or his own caste people. Oh, I am Kshatriya, Kshatriya should not go to hell. Let Vaishyas and Brahmanas and Shudras go to hell. He was not thinking like that. He was asking about the entire humanity. And Parikshit Maharaj asked this without any analysis. As soon as he heard that sinful souls will be tortured in this way in the hellish planets, immediately, spontaneously, the first thought that came into his mind was how to protect them. So a Vaishnava is spontaneously compassionate. His compassion is complete. His compassion is available for all the suffering souls, not limited to his own community, his own family, his own dynasty or his own caste. So Vaishnava is completely compassionate. So the highest compassion is to uplift a suffering soul to spiritual consciousness. Compassion can be exhibited in 2 ways. One on material plane, one on spiritual plane. When somebody is exhibiting compassion on a material plane, one may kind of take care of their material well-being in terms of body, which is needed also, which is not wrong, definitely. But compassion should not be restricted only to the material body, which is temporary. Compassion, real compassion is compassion for the person who is living within the body, the soul, the spirit. So to uplift the soul and the consciousness of the soul who is living within the body, a Vaishnava or a devotee shows compassion on a spiritual plane. Prabhupada writes, compassion for the dress of a drowning person is foolishness. Somebody is drowning in a river and you become compassionate for his coat and suit and boots, and you feel that, oh, his coat is drowning in the ocean, his tie is drowning in the ocean. You cannot say that, oh, we have to protect the dress. Person is more important than the dress. Similarly, this body is like a dress on the soul. Within this body there is soul, spirit soul. A advanced spiritualist, an advanced devotee of God, he actually shows compassion on a spiritual plane. He wants to uplift the person's consciousness more than offering some physical comforts to the body. Offering some physical comforts to the body is needed to a certain degree, but real compassion is compassion on a spiritual plane. To revive the God consciousness of people in general is the ultimate project of all compassionate souls. And one can revive the spiritual consciousness of people in general by speaking to them about God. When we speak Krishna conscious teachings to people in general, that will uplift their consciousness, that will nourish their souls. And whoever speaks to people in general about God, about scriptures, such people are most compassionate people on this in this entire earthly planet. Actually, all the foolish activities in this world are happening because of lack of scriptural knowledge, due to lack of love of God, due to lack of a service attitude towards the Supreme Lord. So the scriptures are actually describing what is the real constitutional position of people in general, living entities, and who is God? Does he have a world of his own, that is spiritual world, and why the living entities are staying in this material world instead of spiritual world? Is there a way for the living entity who is living in this material world to transcend this material world and go to the spiritual world? If there is a way, what is that path? All these are described in the scriptures. So when our compassion is restricted to giving a comfort to a conditioned living entity within this world and pampering their bodies only and not doing anything about their souls, that is not complete compassion. Compassion in its complete sense is to uplift the spirits of people, to awaken their spiritual consciousness. So great Vaishnavas, great devotees strive to revive the spiritual consciousness of people in general, and that is best accomplished by speaking Krishna Katha, by speaking about God to people. In the Srimad Bhagavatam, in the 10th canto, there is a very confidential section called Rasa Panchadhyaya. So this describes the pastimes of the gopis and Krishna. In the middle of that, the gopis of Vrindavan, they describe the compassion of great souls who speak Krishna Katha to people. They say, Tava kathamritam tapta jivanam kavibhiriditam kalmashapaham Shravana mangalam shrimadatatam bhavigrinanti bhurida janaha. Bhurida janaha means the most benevolent souls, the most compassionate people. Who are they? Tava kathamritam. Those who describe the nectarian pastimes of Krishna are the most compassionate people. Tava kathamritam tapta jivanam. The kathamrita, the nectar of Krishna's pastimes, is the jivana, is the life of people who are suffering. So why there is suffering? Because they don't know about God. If people in general know about God, and if they are confident about God's protection, oh, God will protect me. If anything happens, Krishna is there to protect me. If that faith is not there, there is fear. So to remove that material fear in conditioned souls, we have to give them faith in God. God is your supreme well-wisher. God is so compassionate on you. He will relieve you from all your sufferings. Have faith on God. So when people, whoever is instilling that faith in people in general and enabling them to love God and serve God, such people are most compassionate. For example, Prahlad Maharaj, a small little boy, a great devotee, Prahlada, he was put into so many tribulations by his own father Hiranyakashipu. But during all these tribulations, Prahlad was not at all fearful. He has complete faith in Lord Vishnu, who came to protect him every single time. Prahlad did not do anything to protect himself, but Vishnu always protected him, because Prahlad had complete faith in God, faith in Vishnu. Similarly, if a person instills that kind of faith in people in general, oh, there is God who is your supreme well-wisher, He can protect you from all calamities. Why are you fearing? Yeah, calamities will come and go. They are not permanent. They are so temporary. So we should not be overwhelmed. We should be rooted in our devotion to God. He will protect us from everything. God is called Namo Namaha Klesha Vinashanaya. Oh Lord, reliever of all kinds of distresses in all our lives. So devotees describe the Lord as a person who can relieve the distresses of all people. When such a person is there to give us shelter, why there is fear? So devotees need not fear. So a Krishna conscious person, he will try to instill this much faith and confidence in God, in people in general. So people in general should be able to keep faith in God like that. Whoever inspires that faith is so dear to the Lord. Tava kathamritam tapta jivanam kavibhiriditam kalmashapaham. So the kathamrita, the narrations about God, narrations about Krishna are life of suffering souls, and they are spoken by great souls. Kavibhiriditam kalmashapaham. They remove the contamination in this world completely. Kalmashapaham. Bhuvi granantiye bhurida jana. These compassionate souls will constantly glorify Krishna Katha. The greatest compassion is to show compassion on a spiritual plane, to inspire God consciousness of people. Once, Gargamuni came to Nanda Maharaj's house. Nanda Maharaj, who is the father of Krishna, he received him with lot of love and respect. He welcomed him into his house. And he said, Mahadvichalanam drunam grihinam dina chetasam nishreyasaya bhagavan kalpate nanyatakwachet. Nanda Maharaj says, Mahadvichalanam drunam, people who are great souls, who are great devotees, they go from one home to another home, one place to another place, only to enlighten people in general, in God consciousness, out of their compassion. The purpose of devotees' travelings is to inspire people in God consciousness. That is their deep compassion on people. Once in Vrindavan, Krishna took all the gopas to the trees of Vrindavan and said, see these trees are so compassionate. Their entire existence is there for welfare of people in general. They are offering wood, they are offering leaves, they are offering shade to us. Whenever there is rain, we can go and stand under the tree. They are giving us fruits and flowers and shade and firewood. And for our furniture in the houses, they are providing wood. For our cooking also, they are providing wood. So like that, in various ways, the entire existence of the trees is meant for the welfare of people in general. And this is how everybody should live in this world. He says that Pranair Arthair Dhiya Vacha Shreya Acharanam Sada. One's prana, life, artha, money, dhiya, intelligence, vacha, the verbal strength, the power of speech, all these things should be utilized for the welfare of others. Pranair Arthair Dhiya Vacha Shreya Acharanam Sada. Then one's life will be successful. He says that etavat janma safalyam dehinam dehishu. Janma safalyam, janma means one's birth, becomes a safala, fruitful, only if one engages in the welfare work of people in general. So one should not be so selfish. One should not be thinking about oneself only. What will happen to me? How can I live life nicely? How can I attain happiness? How can I attain all these facilities for material enjoyment? Instead of thinking in such a selfish manner, one should also think about others. One should extend oneself to help others to come to spiritual consciousness. For that, we ourselves have to develop our spiritual consciousness. We should equip ourselves with the sound vibrations from scriptures, and we should implement all the scriptural principles in our own lives and inspire others also to do so. That is the real compassion. Compassion on a spiritual plane. And we can discuss more perspectives of spiritual compassion in the next episode. Hare Krishna.
For more such devotional programs, please watch Hare Krishna television. To get this channel, please contact your cable or DTH operator. For more information, please call 8767 845 845.